Hey, how are you? And welcome to my very first video here on the Alcohol Minimalist YouTube channel. I have been around for a long time. I have a podcast. There are many videos that are really just my podcast episodes here on the channel, but I've decided that I'm going to start sharing some information via video. So today I want to talk to you about creating a mindful drinking mindset. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Molly Watts. I am the host of the Alcohol Minimalist podcast. I'm also the author of a book called Breaking the Bottle Legacy. That's there. You can see it, and I will put down below this video links to both the podcast and to my to the book where you can pick it up. And I also am a coach, and I have lots of ways that you can work with me. Again, down below this video, you can click on mollywatts.com/work with me to learn more about Drink Less Success, my 30-day mini program, Making Peace with Alcohol, Proof Positive, and my Progress Promise. So before we get going, I just want to talk to you about some of the ways that we are going to tools that I use to help you change your relationship with alcohol. The behavior map results cycle, connection creation, a doable drink plan, the off plan. These are all things that I talk about and how I work with people to help change and create a mindful drinking mindset. But number one at the top of this list, and what we're really focused on today, is mindset curation. And yes, it's absolutely a curation process. All right. Now, I want you to know that there is a lot of stuff that's trying to get into your brain that isn't necessarily helpful in terms of creating a positive mindset or definitely a mindful drinking mindset. I want you to be well informed, that's for sure. But I also want you to remember that you aren't a mental ninja and you really have to curate your brain's input. When you get too absorbed in the news, in social media, in all the negative headlines that are happening around you, it can really, really impact your mental health. And if you're not offsetting that with positive information, with positive resources like podcasts or audiobooks or favorite shows that are comedic or things that you like to watch or a great book that you like to read, then you're really going to have a hard time creating a mindset around a mindful drinking mindset. As I said, so curating and keeping out too much of the negative information, listening to positive information, that's all really super important. Also, we have to begin practicing new beliefs. Practicing new beliefs is something that not many of us are taught how to do it, and we often don't realize how much agency we have in creating new beliefs. And that's really what a mindful drinking mindset is all about. It's about creating new beliefs about alcohol. Everything starts in your brain. And the first step is to become aware of some of the thoughts, especially those unconscious thoughts that you've been allowing to go unmanaged. And then from there, we've got to create new beliefs and create new ideas and create a new mindset around alcohol on purpose. If you've listened to the podcast or heard me talk before, you might have heard me talk about the alcohol core beliefs. Under the video, again, I'll have a link to how you can get your hands on this mind map, but really understanding how our unconscious beliefs fuels our desire to drink, that is a really important part of building a new mindset is understanding where the unconscious thoughts are coming from and what we do believe and being willing to challenge old those old automated unconscious beliefs with new ideas. So again, you can download this mind map and another piece of that, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. So how do you even know you're having like some thoughts that aren't helpful? Really, we have to understand that negative feelings are indicators that you might be having a negative thought. And while it seems very logical, maybe a lot of times we just do not pay attention to the thoughts. We only focus on our feelings. The reason that understanding that those feelings is, or noticing our feelings is important is because we actually want to do the work of going backwards and finding the thoughts that are fueling them. And that's really, again, something that goes right under our awareness if we don't pay close attention. We have to pay careful attention to our negative feelings and determine the thoughts that are actually sticking out there. They might be simple thoughts like, I don't like, or I don't want, or that won't work, or I've never done it that way, so it's their fault, or it's, he or she did that to me. All of those negative types of thoughts really fuel our feelings, and they give us no agency in terms of changing how we're feeling because they're focused on an external situation. But it's important to know it and then be willing to work on it and to challenge it. So, what makes us believe our beliefs? Maybe a funny question, but believing is actually deciding and accepting that something is true. Now, I want you to hear me when I say that. It's believing and deciding that something is true. It doesn't necessarily make it true, it isn't therefore a fact. It just makes us believe that it's true. So, if you want to disbelieve something, you first have to recognize that you have accepted something as true and decide to change your mind about it. You have learned to believe something by practice and repetition. And the only way to disbelieve it is to, again, start practicing and repeating something else, something different. Most of us are in a default believing and thinking mode. We are just replaying beliefs that have been programmed and practiced. They are not necessarily, they are truths to us, right? But that does not mean that they are a fact. Truths are, it is a decision that we believe. And it's easier to understand if we make sure that we separate them, truths from the facts. All right. Truths are a narrative, facts are facts. Facts mean that 100% of us would agree on it. 100% of us would, a court of law would agree on it. There is no room, even if 99% of us agree and 1% don't, then it is not a fact. It is a truth. Facts are facts, whether we believe them or not. And a truth is much more subjective. What we currently believe is based on our past. Our beliefs, the thoughts that we've repeated over time, create our feelings. And that leads to our actions, which ultimately equals the results that we have in our lives. So if we do nothing, our past beliefs will continue to create the results that we currently have. We will simply keep creating the limitations of our past and confirm that we are limited. If you want to create something different, a different future, then you have to create something that that has not existed in the past. You have to create a new belief, which means that you have to practice and repeat new thoughts. Now, this is going to cause something called cognitive dissonance. Our beliefs resist new visions. We cannot believe two opposing things at the same time without being very uncomfortable. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. And it's why most people stay stuck in their old beliefs because we already believe them and we're comfortable, right? And most people grow up practicing new beliefs. Most people give up practicing new beliefs because it's really so much easier to stay stuck in our old thought patterns because it's what we've always believed. We have results that probably prove to us that what we believe is true and a history of experience, and that fuels our beliefs, right? It's fueling the old thought. And a new thought that has no evidence, no proof, feels like it can't possibly be true. But that's what's causing the dissonance. And it's because it has no backup. But that doesn't mean that we should quit trying to practice new thoughts. We cannot create a future from our past thinking. So bridge thoughts are what connect the old belief to a new belief. We can't go from being, from one full belief to, to the other side without taking steps in between. It will always feel like cognitive dissonance. when I started working on my relationship with alcohol, trying to tell myself that I was somebody that didn't desire alcohol was never going to work because it was felt ridiculous and it felt really untrue and it was uncomfortable. And it wasn't even something that I could remotely believe is true because I definitely desired alcohol. And if I kept thinking I don't desire alcohol, it created a stronger and stronger feeling of dissonance. Finding a bridge or ladder thought that was, able to get me from where I was to where I wanted to be was super important. And I had to start with where I was and move to where I ultimately wanted to be in small incremental steps. This is some of how I got there. I started with, I'm someone who desires alcohol more than other people because of my genetics. That was a belief that I had. That was where I started. I took a step away from that and said, I'm someone who desires alcohol more than other people because I've trained my brain to want it. When I understood that my genetics weren't the problem, but I had actually just trained my brain to desire alcohol more, not only did that feel very empowering, but it was something that I could absolutely believe. And the science backed it up. So I was somebody that, so that felt very reasonable to me. When that the net thought after that was, my genes aren't the problem. I am creating my desire with my thoughts. Again, reaffirming that it wasn't something that I didn't have control over. It was actually my brain. My brain has the power to change my desire by changing my thoughts. That was a thought that felt very empowering to me, and understanding that was something that I could really get behind, and it helped me fuel and take better actions. I desire alcohol because I have believed it helps me feel better, right? I was separating myself away from my thoughts and understanding that I had was creating the feeling of desire. Alcohol doesn't really help me feel better. It actually makes me feel worse. Recognizing that thought is true took me a while, but it actually, again, helped me move towards the ultimate thoughts that I really wanted to become an alcohol minimalist. I feel better when I don't use alcohol to buffer away negative emotions. That was a thought that I could believe very easily. I don't desire to drink more than I plan because alcohol doesn't change how I feel. Once I understood that it was my thoughts that created my feelings, I really wanted to do the work of managing my own mind and creating the feelings that I wanted. I desire to drink less. Once I got to, I don't desire to drink more than I plan because alcohol doesn't change how I feel. It was easy to get to, I desire to drink less because I did, and I could believe that. And then ultimately, I can take alcohol or leave it. And that's how I feel about alcohol now. Practicing new thoughts can feel a little bit like you're practicing for a part in a play. It's going to feel awkward because you are stepping into a new way of thinking and feeling and, acting, right? That's okay. Just keep going. You want to embrace this new way of being by living as if you are the person that already believes that you can take alcohol or leave it, or that you desire to drink less. If you act that way, if you act like a person who believes that, you will take better actions. The habit brain, this lower brain that I talk about on the podcast, that I've talked about here on YouTube through those videos, is the lower unconscious part of our brain, right? And it's our lower brains that seek to avoid pain, pursue pleasure, and conserve energy. That's why we commit things to habit. When you change a belief, it's going to go against comfort, right? As you think differently, your brain will resist with dissonance, which feels unpleasant and uncomfortable. And it's okay. I just want to tell you, in the beginning, the thoughts will feel like they require a lot of effort, but we just need to stick with it to outwit that old survival structure of the lower brain. You can do this. You can shatter the old identity and create the identity of the new person that you are becoming. Don't wish for it. Don't hope for it. Commit to it. Go for it. Do the work and allow it to feel awkward and do it anyway. Just keep going. Now, I told you that down underneath here again, you can sign up for the alcohol mind map. And in addition, you will also get this, which gives you a little bit more information on alcohol core beliefs and also helps you challenge your own thinking around them. And so I hope that by doing all of this and learning and hearing about this, you see how much power you have in creating your own moderation or your own mindful drinking mindset. You've got to uncover and challenge some of your alcohol core beliefs. You've got to practice new beliefs and work on curating a mindset that promotes and helps you feel the way that you want to feel so that you can take the actions that you want to take so that you can get the results that you want to have in your life. That's all I got for you today. Hey, how'd I do? First video. Did you like it? If so, hit subscribe, would ya? I hope and thanks for being here. See ya.